Biden delivers remarks on the impact of Hurricane Milton. He says, "Are you kidding me?" And he tells Donald Trump to get a life. We're going to be talking about Hurricane Milton and its impact. Okay. And a shit ton more. Let's get started.
That apparently is going very well as from the Coast Guard and from FEMA, we've received reports. We focused on what the American military can do like no one else can, provide emergency support for communities in need, and we're required by the governor in the affected states. I've spoken to all the governors, not today, all of them, but I've spoken to all of them thus far, and how we can be ready to go in an instant when the call comes. At my direction, the Defense Secretary Austin has provided a range of capabilities both to Florida for Hurricane Milton, as well as the states impacted by Hurricane Helene. And the more capabilities are available, we assess the pressing needs, we can get whatever they need. To the servicemen and women who are on the ground responding to these disasters, thank you. Thank you for your professionalism, your dedication to every mission you're given. You're repeating it again. This is a whole of government effort. It also includes the Department of Energy, Department of Transportation, Department of Health and Human Services, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is providing mortgage relief for impacted homeowners. As directed, FEMA is going to open disaster recovery centers all across the impacted communities right away. So there's one stop the residents can go to learn about the support they might need, and they'll be advertised where those places are. 3 million people are without power, but more than 40 million power line workers have come from around the country, from Canada to Florida, to restore power across the state.
Linemen and bucket bunnies alike. That's right. 40 million linemen, 80 million bucket bunnies. The entirety of the continental United States is in the state of Florida sucking and fucking. Hasan is so obsessed with bucket bunnies, Lamau. I'm sorry. It's something that my job here is to explain to you certain concepts that you might not have been privy to. Okay? Get fucking serious.
In addition, the Federal Aviation has authorized Florida Power and Light to fly large drones before other manned aircraft can get up in the sky to quickly assess the damage on the ground so ground crews can restore power as quickly as possible. The Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers are assessing how fast they can reopen the Port of Tampa to get fuel, food, water, and other basic goods flowing into the area again and quickly. Additionally, Vice President Harris and I said yesterday, and we'll say it again, to anyone who seeks to take advantage of our fellow Americans' desperation, whether you're a company engaging in price gouging or a citizen trying to scam your neighbors, we will go after you and we will hold you accountable.
Good morning, Chad and Hasan. Here's your Milton update for today. As of 2 p.m. EDT, Milton is a post-tropical cyclone with winds of 75 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 983 millibars. The storm is 200 miles east, northeast of Cape Canaveral, moving at 21 miles per hour. Milton fully crossed over the Florida Peninsula by 5 a.m. EST Thursday morning as a Category 1 hurricane with winds at 85 miles per hour, minimum pressure of 976 millibars. It remained a hurricane. As it did so, this was expected, but it's still pretty crazy. Tropical storm conditions and storm surge continue along portions of the U.S. southeast coast and extreme northwestern Bahamas. Storm surge warnings remains in effect for portions of the east coast of Florida and southern coast of Georgia. Storm surge inundation will continue in these areas through this afternoon. The risk of considerable urban flooding will linger through this afternoon. Across central East Florida, moderate to major river flooding is ongoing and forecast throughout central Florida. As of 11 a.m. EST, 3.4 million homes are without power and more than 40 rescues have taken place in several counties. At least 9 people are confirmed killed, 4 after a tornado struck a senior community in St. Lucie, 3 in Volusia County, and 2 in St. Petersburg. More casualties are expected. Rainfall from Milton ranged from 12.5 inches in Clearwater, Florida, to 18.5 in St. Petersburg. Wind gusts from Milton ranged from 96 miles per hour in Bradenton to 105 miles per hour near Tampa Bay. Parts of Fort Myers, Sarasota, Venice, Punta Gorda, and other Gulf cities were inundated with at least 10 feet of storm surge. The tornado also hit a police station. We saw that yesterday. A crane collapsed on a building in St. Petersburg. We saw that yesterday as well. Some boats washed ashore. Also, on top of that, the top of the Tropicana Stadium was also cooked. Well, this link doesn't work. Venice, Florida reached peak storm surge. After the back wall of the storm hit them, to your question yesterday, it did get worse as a result of the dirty side of the hurricane hitting them. There was flash flooding in Metro Tampa last night after Milton dumped 8 to 14 inches of rain there. Milton dropped so much rain, more than 18 inches on St. Petersburg, that it represents a 1 in 1,000 year rainfall event for the area. Milton ripped off the roof of the MLB stadium that had been set up as a shelter for first responders, but was not actively being used at the time. As of 11:30 a.m. EST, Sarasota County is thought to be one of the worst impacted by Milton. The tornadoes that were spawned by Milton were a lot stronger and lived much longer than the ones normally seen from hurricanes. The NWS issued over 100 tornado warnings. NOAA put out the video of their sail drone about 46 miles from the center of Milton. It reported wave heights of 28.12 feet, 8.5 meters, and wind gusts as strong as 75.95 miles per hour. Thank you. This link is not working. But yeah, you got some boats left over the waterfront from storm surge in Punta Gorda, Florida from Hurricane Milton. That's crazy. Wait, is this real? A guy was rescued? I don't know. Wait, what? Breaking. A U.S. Coast Guard Air Station Miami 65 helicopter rescued a man clinging onto a cooler approximately 30 miles off of Longboat Key. The man was taken to Tampa General Hospital for medical care. Sector St. Pete lost communications with the man approximately at 6:45 p.m. Wednesday. That is crazy. Do we know where Lieutenant Dan is? Yes. We have updates on Lieutenant Dan as well. Lieutenant Dan post hurricane update. He is very much alive. Boats float, coolers float. I was wrong.
We got the boat here and Lieutenant Dan here. How'd it go? How'd the night go?
It was a little rough till about 11:30. I repositioned the boat and I was heading into the wind, and I slept like a baby from 12:30 to 5 o'clock this morning. I woke up twice to pee, that was it. But other than that, I mean, it's been a great night. I just smoked half a joint. I'm high. I'm watching all the people run around like crazy because of all the water.
Wait, this was post Helene. Lieutenant Dan is getting a kick deal. Turns out Aiden Ross was like, oh, I'll give you 70 grand if you film yourself possibly dying in the storm. Well, he had an update to that. Okay. He had an update to that story. Yesterday, we found out Aiden Ross was like, no, I'm not actually going to give you money, 70 grand, if you film yourself. That was only for 2 of my friends, not you, to a kick streamer who was actually filming themselves. What is this? Aiden Ross pulls Lieutenant Dan's kick deal and new boat after finding out Dan is allegedly a pedo and grifter. That was a quick switch up from Aiden. That's we finally did it. We found one pedophile that Kick won't give a deal to. I thought he would have seen that and been like, "Oh yeah, that's great." Wow, he's a scammer. That's a bridge too far for me. Viral TikToker Lieutenant Dan survived Hurricane Milton in his 20-foot boat after refusing to evacuate. Now he's been offered a new $100,000 boat and a kick deal by Aiden Ross. But it turns out Aiden Ross also revoked the deal. Anyway, yeah. Don't call him a pedophile. We don't know that for sure. Yeah, no, I don't know. Lieutenant Dan's 14 mugshots go crazy. He's a generational menace. Guys, I think there's something really funny about looking at a dude like this and being like, wow, I can't believe he has a criminal background. Okay? Like, I can't believe this man has been in and out of prison. Also, just to be clear, most of these are failure to appear. This is the article they clipped out the name, so you can't see the first name is different, but also the age doesn't line up. Yeah, this is not, Lieutenant Dan is not, this isn't correct. Also, if he was on a 120-year term for raping a 10-year-old, obviously he would still be in prison and not on a fucking boat in Florida. Okay? Turns out he's 26 years old. Boat in Florida is the prison. Okay, that's not how that works, but I see where you're going with that. Yeah, he is not. This is a different registered sex offender with the same last name, but not even the same first name. So a lot of people got on that. I think Aiden Ross should make good and give Lieutenant Dan the $100,000 and the new boat that he said he was going to give Lieutenant Dan. It's kind of fucked up that Aiden Ross is just getting fake news over here. But here's an update from him.
Lieutenant Dan! Lieutenant Dan! Lieutenant Dan!
He tried to light up a woman on fire, so it's still very problematic. Guys.
Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm fine. Are you sure? I think you made it through the worst of it.
Yeah, he made it through the worst of it. He got definitely lucky, by the way. Lieutenant Dan is upset after being told that Aiden Ross and Kick are no longer going to give him a $100,000 boat and a kick deal after they found out about his history, which includes assaulting a woman and a police officer. Let's take a look.
What about Aiden Ross telling you he not getting you a boat no more?
He came to me. I never went to him. He offered it to me. I never asked for it. So then he turned around and he started.
Dude, Florida is like, Florida is a magnet for grifters like this. So you know every dude with like a shit coin is trying to fucking go over there and give him clothes to wear with like dink donk coin or whatever the fuck they can find to be like, hey, Lieutenant Dan, put this shirt on.
Seeing about my history, well, you should have did that before you made the offer. You know, if you're worried about your image and who you have working for you, you should have done your due diligence and looked me up before you made me an offer of $100,000 sign-on bonus to $50,000 a month with a $100,000 boat. And I'm gonna let you go because I don't care about that. But I'm gonna tell you
He
this.
took the money away too?
Huh?
He took the $100K?
Took that, as far as I know, everything.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's the thing. I mean, I didn't ask you for
Man, that's a whole lot of ketchup, dude. That's a lot of ketchup to just dump on that fucking scrambled eggs
You
right
offered
there.
it. I agreed to do what you asked me to do. You asked me to be on Kick 100 hours a month. I agreed. I said, no problem. I'll do it. I'm down for that. We agreed, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I hear and see on the internet is how you're disgusted with my history and that deal is done.
So what about your history that
Oh, never mind. It's a sandwich. Valid. I take it back. Valid.
discuss him so bad? Because we all got a history. Nobody closet clean.
I went to prison. I did jail time. But I have to tell you point blank, God to my soul, I'm innocent of all the charges. I was charged with battery on a law enforcement officer. He said I punched.
Ketchup on eggs is valid. No, I thought he was just raw dogging it with fucking omelets. One packet for a Sammy is valid. I take it back. You know, I've disrespected Lieutenant Dan quite a bit. I have. I said his boat won't float. I said he'll die. Okay. Who's the smart one? Who's the smart one? Just right now, right here. I disrespected him again. I said, Lieutenant Dan, that's too much ketchup. I was wrong. One packet of ketchup is so valid in a sandwich. You can put ketchup on eggs as long as it's in a sandwich format. And I didn't even realize that it was a sandwich style situation. It's because I'm judging a book by its cover. Once again.
Him in the nose. I never even saw the cop. He beat the hell out of me from behind. And then I went to prison for a year and a day on a battery on a Leo charge. And I never even saw him. But the thing is this.
So he didn't actually hit a fucking EMS. He hit a cop.
Karma and God are real. Because the bartender who started it all, the manager, and the arresting officer were all the witnesses. While I went to prison for 5.5 months, the 44-year-old bartender had a massive heart attack.
To be fair to you, if Milton had not swung south of Tampa and hit Tampa directly, he would not have been able to ride that shit out. I know, but that's besides the point.
In his sleep and died.
Oh my God.
The cop, who was a street cop.
You do not need to give a pedo his flowers. He's not. I mean, he might be, but he is not a registered sex offender. That's a different person.
That used to wear the sheriff thing across his chest and have the gun and the boots and the military. He's now behind a desk at the substation in Lake Worth. So that when you walk in, he's like, "How can I help you?" Tell me that ain't a demotion.
Right.
And on top of that, he looks like he's got cancer.
Oh my God.
And that ain't my fault. I didn't do nothing to you.
Right.
You know what? Karma bit you on the ass because you got on the stand and said I punched you in the nose when you know damn well I didn't do it. I never even saw you.
That's crazy.
Mr. Joe makes me feel old. You can just call me Jay.
Jay. So do you like that they call you Lieutenant Dan?
I don't care. I mean, I gotta rephrase that. Let me reword that. I do, but I don't. I do because it's what got me blown up the way I am.
Yeah.
But I'm not Dan. I'm not Lieutenant Dan. I'm not a lieutenant. I've never been in the military. Never claimed to be. And I don't want people to think that I don't want them to associate me being in the military because of this.
Yeah.
They think I'm a vet and things like that. And I'm not.
He's like, gross. I would never be in the military. He hates stolen valor, but more importantly, he's like, don't fucking say I'm in the military. How dare you?
Are you happy about your GoFund hitting 30-something thousand though?
I'm free.
You supposed to be living your best life in Dubai. Or you are?
I'll be there. This is only the beginning.
This is just the beginning? I know that's right. Feel about Aiden Ross telling you he not getting you a boat no more.
He came to me. I never went to him. He offered it to me. I never asked for it. So then he turned around and he starts seeing about my history. Well, you should have did that before you made the offer. If you're worried about your...
Wait, his whole appeal to Chose with you's a vet missing a leg? I don't fucking know. I said this right after the clip where I reacted to Lieutenant Dan. I never said I was taking the offer / boat away. The internet loves to make me look bad.
Feel about Aiden Ross.
You lose again, he survived. I mean, I wanted him to survive. I didn't want him to fucking die. I may have set a woman on fire, but don't you dare associate me with those dastardly Marine Corps. So wait, where is the setting a woman on fire coming from? Because like, how the fuck did he get out of prison if he just like lit a woman on fire? That's an insane thing that you guys are just saying. Bro crashed out with the golden ratio. Okay, bro, stop. Listen, in this house, we respect the veterans. And in my mind, he's still a vet. He's still a lieutenant. It's legal in Florida. He didn't light a woman on fire. He lit a park bench on fire, and the woman said he got gas on her. Oh. Why was he lighting a park bench on fire? Joseph Malinowski, 54, so nicknamed for his resembles the double amputee sailor played by Gary Sinise in Forrest Gump. Racked up dozens of arrests in North Carolina and Florida dating back to at least 2006. Whoa! Another North Carolina, Florida arrested. Another North Carolina to Florida felon, just like our boy Ryan Ruth. Also not a military veteran, but also with connections to other military veterans. It also appears he's not even from the Tampa area. His most recent busts were in South Florida. Malinowski was featured on the Weather Channel, CNN, and on a live stream with TikToker Tampa Terrence Concannon, who nearly has 500,000 followers. Concannon set up a GoFundMe to raise money for Malinowski to buy a larger vessel, which as of now has $40,000, calling him the kindest soul who's always ready to lend a hand. Many of the charges of traffic offenses are arrest for failure to appear in court, but he's also been busted for everything from drug possession to attempted breaking and entering to aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. He even has an open criminal case out of Tampa. In May 2021, Malinowski was arrested for allegedly refusing a manager's request to leave the Broges Down Under bar in Lake Worth, Florida, after causing a disturbance by screaming and smashing glasses. As a responding Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy was intending to handcuff him, Malinowski became aggressive and punched him on the nose, according to an arrest report. The deputy punched him back to subdue the rowdy skipper, who received a laceration on his face from broken glass on the floor of the bar. Free my man, he innocent. He was charged with battery against a law enforcement officer and pleaded not guilty, but served a year in jail after being convicted by a jury. Yeah, this guy's track record, his criminal record, his criminal background is unironically not as bad as like the average Floridian. You know? A more recent and disturbing incident came last February when a woman reported she had gotten in an argument with Malinowski, who had been sitting on a concrete bench at Lake Fort Worth Beach. During the argument, Malinowski allegedly approached the woman and poured gasoline on the bench directly next to where she was sitting and set it alight. The argument continued to escalate, and the woman, who was smoking a cigarette at the time, said Malinowski then splashed her with gas in an attempt to light her on fire. She called 911 fearing for her life and grabbed Malinowski's crutches to prevent him from using them as weapons. Bro, Florida is not a real place. Like, this is, I swear to God, this story right here is just like, that's an insane thing that happens every day in Florida, it seems. Okay? It's just, it is a GTA PvP server, dude. Not even RP, just straight. Mainline. Grand Theft Auto online lobby, dude. What the fuck is happening? She grabbed Malinowski's crutches to prevent him from using them as weapons or escape before help could arrive, records allege. Malinowski used his crutches to help him get around after his left leg was amputated above the knee following a scooter accident nearly 40 years ago. What the fuck? A scooter accident? Bro, how the fuck did you get into such a severe scooter accident that you had to get amputated? How was that even possible? What? Everything I find out about this man, it makes me more interested. You ever get hit in the shin by a scooter, bro? Yeah, it just lobbed his fucking leg clean off. He was arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, but the case was dropped a month later for reasons that were not explained and could not be immediately determined. His credentials as a responsible sailor are also shaky at best. This is such a funny action shot. Malinowski allegedly attempted to set a woman on fire last year after getting in an argument. He was cleared. Fuck you mean? Last March, Malinowski was charged for abandoning a derelict 26-foot sailboat called the Rowan Einish, which was discovered on its side and submerged against the seawall in Lantana, South Florida, according to court documents. Chat, suck my dick. Mr. Boats Float. Mr. Boats Float. Dude, this guy has a history. Okay? This guy has a history of capsizing shit. However, prosecutors later declined to pursue the case in court due to terms of a plea deal. As Hurricane Milton was bearing down Florida, Malinowski became internet famous for stubbornly refusing to evacuate his vessel. I know the mayor of Tampa just said in her press conference that Lieutenant Dan went to a shelter. He didn't. I'm standing right here, said News Nation correspondent Brian Enton. Lightning doesn't strike twice. His second boat won't sink. Yeah. He was in a One Bite Pizza review
I know
too.
it's rookie 8.0. This garlic bread they had looked divine. The guy didn't really understand what I was saying. I'm like, does it take long? But garlic bread's their thing. Cheesy bread. I don't generally love having the garlic bread with all the cheese on it, but I love garlic bread.
Where is he in the fucking video? Oh, that's not him, bro. Y'all are fucking so dumb. Jesus Christ, dude. That's a painter guy with no hands who died. Anyway. Yeah, that guy has no arms, chatter. This guy doesn't have one leg. Anyway, let's move on from Lieutenant Dan. I just wanted to give you all the updates on him. I know a lot of people were worried. Joe Biden's silence on Lieutenant Dan's latest is deafening for sure. Like in a press conference talking about Hurricane Milton, my expectation is that the commander-in-chief is obviously going to talk about one of the most well-decorated, celebrated veterans. But here he is once again refusing to mention him. Kind of fucked up. I was waiting for the Lieutenant Dan mention, like a status update from the king of NATO himself, but he does not care. He does not care about our veterans. Like, he does not. It's obvious to me.
Now, not only that, our fellow Americans are putting their lives on the line to do this dangerous work and receive death penalties. Some received death penalties yesterday as a result of reckless, irresponsible, relentless disinformation and outright lies that continue to flow. Those who engage in such lies are undermining confidence in the rescue and recovery work that's opening and ongoing. As I speak, they're continuing. These lies are also harmful to those who most need help. Lives are on the
Every time he speaks, I'm reminded of this hilarious attitude that the Democrats close to him had, that this man was going to not only make it to November, win the election, but also do 4 more years as the president.
line. People are in desperate situations. Have the decency to tell them the truth. So let me say this. To all the people impacted by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, despite...
Never forget, in the full court press to show that Brandon still got it, never forget that his wife, Jill Biden's book, had a passage about how hard Joe Biden was fucking her. And this was like their way of saying Biden still got it, aside from how great he is and how sharp he is in meetings that we simply never see. He also was having hardcore sex with his wife still. That's a real thing that happened. I'm not making it up. It sounds like I'm making it up, but I'm not. Stop. No, it didn't. Okay, dude. Joe Dynamo. Here. Biden, 81, says the key to his marriage is good sex. How Joe infuriates Jill, his wife of 47 years, with very risque joke to staff about their private life. Joe Biden said good sex is key to long-lasting marriage. Book on U.S. First Lady's claims.
Misinformation and lies. The truth is, we're providing the resources needed to rescue, recover, and rebuild. And rebuild.
Fundamentally different than what you said? Wait, what do you mean? No, dude, he's laying his shit down. He's got a thick 8. Back walls being blown out.
Let me close with this. I know recovery and rebuilding projects can take a long and difficult time. But
any opinion on John Aziz? He's a PA peace activist. Isn't that the fucking poet guy who's like pro-Israel as a Palestinian? Isn't that him? Or am I mistaking him for someone else? I think he's one of those guys, right?
as long after the press and the cameras move on, I promise you, or you have to pick up the pieces still, I want you to know we'll do everything in our power to help you put pieces back together and get all that you need. But God bless you, and may God bless our troops and our first responders who are in some cases risking their lives to help. Thank you very much. I'll be reporting it again tomorrow. Thank you.
Mr. President, on FEMA funding, how much time does Congress have to act before FEMA or the SBA run out of money?
That's in discussion now, but I don't want to mislead you. I think in terms of the SBA, it's pretty right at the edge right now. And I think the Congress should be coming back and moving on the emergency needs immediately. And they're going to have to come back after the election as well, because this is going to be a long haul for total rebuilding. It's going to take several $1 billion. It's not going to be a matter of just a little bit. But we're providing now to make sure people have the emergency relief they need. The dollars just to be able to get a prescription filled, to get a baby formula done. All the things, that $750 that they're talking about, but Mr. Trump and all those other people know it's a lie to suggest that's all they're going to get. That's bizarre. It's bizarre. They got to stop this. They're being so damn un-American with the way they're talking about this stuff. But there's going to be a need for significant amounts of money. We're already underway of trying to calculate what the cost will be, because we don't want to mislead anybody. We want to make sure all the costs are able to be covered.
Have you spoken to Speaker Johnson about coming back before the election to vote?
No, I haven't.
Mr. President, so are you calling on Congress to come back early?
I think Congress should move as rapidly as they can, particularly on the most immediate need, which is small business.
But are you the Vice President said yesterday
Congress should move immediately. Israel.
that FEMA has what it needs. There's enough resources. The Congress does not need to come back, right?
FEMA has its needs. That's different than.
Out of all living presidents, who would you hypothesize has the most substantial schmeat? Biden. I think, judging by the dick meat of Hunter Biden and also Biden's brother, both of his dick meats we have seen, I would suspect that he probably has the longest. No, he said living presidents, chat. No, living presidents. Living presidents. Living. Okay, a lot of people still repeating LBJ. Living.
Okay, so it's SBA. They need to come back.
We like them. The peace activists. Green Circle guy. I retweet them often, wondering if they're actually doing the work. We like them, the peace activists. Dog, you started off with John Aziz, okay? You're being duped.
Yeah, but they're going to need a lot more.
Mr. President, what did Prime Minister Netanyahu tell you about his plans relating to retaliation?
He's coming over to help with the storm.
Mr. President, have you spoken before with President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me? Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, coming over to help with the storm.
Mr. President, have you spoken before with President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me? Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, Get a life, man. Help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold those accountable.
Damn, he told him off, dude.